Okay, Ms. Thomas, so what type of feedback and evaluation will the students receive during the design challenge? The students will receive constant feedback from myself throughout the course of the challenge. However, to test the students' first design, they will be asked to nominate one member from their group to model their item of clothing in a class fashion parade. During this parade, the students' designs will be peer assessed by their fellow classmates using this criteria sheet. The students' designs will also be wet with water to prove whether it meets the challenge's constraints. Such feedback will allow the students to go away and improve their design before their next evaluation. Will parents such as myself be able to come and watch the fashion parade? No, Mary, this will be just a small fashion parade for the students of 5T to watch and participate in. There will be a chance for you to view their designs, however, I will tell you about that soon. So how will the students' second designs be evaluated? The students' second designs will be evaluated by myself in a one-on-one conferencing session with each group. This means I will question all group members to evaluate what changes they made to their first design and how effective these changes have been. Once again, the students' designs will be wet to test the successfulness of their waterproofing. I will provide each group with a feedback sheet to help guide their decision making for their last design. Okay, so what's the final method of evaluation? And how can I view my daughter's item of clothing before it is just sent to the homeless shelter? Okay, the students will be asked to write a letter to their families inviting them to the fundraising fashion parade. This parade will exhibit the students' final designs and will be tested on the waterproofing of the garment as well as its visual appeal. Well, I do have a very busy schedule, so when will I be invited to this event? Well, you see, Mary, the students will be collecting used paper throughout the term. Once enough paper has been collected, the students will be making their own recyclable paper. Using this paper, the students will be required to write a letter to their families inviting them to the special fundraising fashion parade. A class letter will also be written to the local mayor and to a representative from the homeless shelter, inviting them along to the fashion parade as well. The objective of such an activity increases the awareness of forest products and their uses, and it also allows students to see how important it is to recycle and how easy it can be. Okay, sounds great, just as long as I have plenty of notice. So, where will the students find all the materials for the design challenge? The excursion to the local dump will provide students with crucial information that will aid in their decision making of what materials they will use to make their item of clothing. Also on the excursion, the students will receive a sample bag with the various different materials they could use for their designs. This will allow students to gain an understanding of various recyclable materials and their durability. Once students have decided on the materials they will be using, students are encouraged to bring in associated materials from home. This will extend the students' recycling efforts to their home environment as well. Finally, each day students will be selected to sort through a few rubbish bins and collect recyclable materials for students to use during their design challenge. I will ensure safe and hygienic practices are followed. For example, all students that undertake this activity will be required to put gloves and an apron on, and all rubbish collected will be required to be thoroughly washed. This activity will also enable students to tally the different types of materials that are brought to school and will encourage students to bring recyclably friendly materials in their lunchboxes. Sounds like a great idea. I will definitely try and bring in some recyclable materials from my home to share with other kids for their design challenge. Now, if you don't mind my asking, what kind of teaching strategies will you exhibit through the course of the unit? Another great but very crucial question, Mary. I will be using the constructivist teaching approach throughout the term to ensure I cater for the diversity of student wants and needs. This approach encourages collaboration that will be seen through the students working in groups for their design challenge. Constructivists also ensure that hands-on experiences are readily available for students to engage in. This is seen throughout the term through project-based learning experiences such as the design challenge and paper making. Problem-based learning ensures I have set a rich context for the unit and allows the students multiple opportunities to problem solve and reflect. Wow, you have definitely thought this unit through, Miss Thomas. Just have a few more questions though. What assessment pieces will you use in order to collect evidence of student learning? Okay, firstly, each student will be given a design project folio. This will provide myself with evidence regarding the design process that each student has gone through. The folio should include drawings, notes, snippets of information, and samples of materials. This will indicate to me the design considerations and ideas that each student has had through the course of the design challenge. Therefore, this document provides an ideal source of information for reporting and assessment purposes. Secondly, the students' final designs will be assessed using a rubric. This rubric will provide the students and parents with a structured piece of assessment and will enable them to understand what areas the students excelled in and needed improvement. The letters the students write to their families will also be collected by myself for marking and assessment purposes. Finally, anecdotal notes will be taken throughout the course of the whole term. This will enable myself to remember any progress or milestones the students achieved during the term's learning. So it appears that you'll be using both summative and formative types of assessment, is that correct? Absolutely, Mary. It is absolutely important that both forms of assessment are used in order to create an understanding of the progression the students have made in order to reach their final result. An array of assessment strategies will also allow me to make judgments concerning the degree of learning that each student has undertook. That's great that you're so prepared. So say a parent was to approach you about their son or daughter receiving a bad mark. You'd have all the evidence documented to prove why? Exactly. It also helps me to be prepared for parent-teacher interviews so I can provide parents with up-to-date and relevant information concerning their child's progress within the unit. Looks like you've answered all my questions. I can definitely leave here knowing that there's a good reason for my daughter to be going to the dump. And who would have thought I'd learn a thing or two about the importance of technology education? Thanks, Miss Thomas. It was my pleasure to answer your questions, Mary. I'm glad you see that the importance of this unit is not only addressing the need for recycling, but also the importance of technology education as a human endeavour and lifeline within our curriculum. I look forward to seeing you at the fundraising fashion parade. And remember, be a reliable recycler.